All right. Hey, Dr. Matt.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Hey, first and foremost, thank you for bringing over your special drink for us. I know we talked about it a little bit last time, and you said you had a lot of patients ask you about it. So now we get to go over exactly what is in your special recovery elixir. What would you call it?
Outstanding. So we're back in the lab a little earlier this week.
Yes.
So this drink is one great way to start your day. So the main ingredient in this drink, and the reason why you would drink it, is to get your electrolytes.
Okay.
So Max Living has a product that has the main three electrolytes that you want to ingest each day.
Yep.
Sodium, potassium, magnesium. It's just a really easy way to get that in. So the other components of this drink are to help it to taste better.
Cool.
And you're getting some other key ingredients as well. So we're starting off with the electrolyte drops. Half a teaspoon is a serving. This bottle has 40 servings in it, so it's like 38 cents a serving. It's way high value when it comes to what you're investing in.
Yep.
You throw in your organic Santa Cruz lime juice and lemon juice. That's this bottle here.
Yep.
That has like 90 some servings in it, so really cost effective. It's about $5 a bottle.
Yeah, nice.
And then you have your lemon drops stevia.
Okay. So that's the sweetener.
That's the sweetener. That's going to not be the sugar rush. You're going to avoid the insulin spike. And it's a way to combat the salty taste that the electrolyte drops have.
For sure.
Plus, you get a little bit of the lemon in there, too.
Nice.
And then I also brought some ACV. You can add that as well. It's really good for your gut.
Okay, so apple cider vinegar. Yes, great for overall gut health. Unbelievable research on how vinegar helps so much.
Some of our patients do a small shot of this each morning. I don't like to do that. So
I've tried. You
kind of throw this into the lemon limeade and bingo, you're actually getting the ACV in, and it tastes way better.
Yep. I agree. In the last
two things, you can throw in some cinnamon.
Awesome.
Cinnamon's also just a very great nutrient.
Blood sugar, blood pressure balancing, gut health, which we'll talk about. Cinnamon's one of those like hidden heroes. Yeah,
you don't need that in this drink, but it just helps to change the taste. You want to make like a different drink each time.
I like it.
And then a way to get some good high quality fats is just to take a little dropper with MCT oil. You can put that in there.
Nice. Yeah. So MCT doesn't need bile to be broken down, so it's not hard on your body. Your body doesn't store medium chain triglycerides as fat, so it's literally like rocket fuel for your system. So this in the morning is a great way to get kicked up. Or if you're outside, exercising, great way to get electrolytes in, keep your body hydrated well.
Yeah, a lot of our patients are still working from home.
Yeah,
they can make this a little bit easier. But if you are driving back into the office these days, you can go ahead and make this drink, throw it in a glass bottle, just take it with you, and just sip it during the day. Or you can just chug it down before you go.
Love it. Awesome. All right, so got the drink out of the way. I've had a lot of patients ask me. They've seen some of our signs changing in our office, and so I wanted to talk about it just for a minute. Obviously, you know what's happening. Starting,
I hope I do.
Well, so starting this month, our office is officially adopting a new brand, and so for the past 8 years since we opened in 2013, we've been known as Riverside Family Chiropractic. The story behind Riverside Family Chiropractic, because everyone asks me and they go, "Hey, you're called Riverside. Obviously, you're not on Riverside Drive." You're maybe close to a river, but not near it. So here's how the story came about. I was practicing in Naples, Florida, and we were building our practice here. My wife and I were, and we got to the point that we had to select a name. Well, we had to pick a name before we secured where our property was going to be. We had lease negotiations out with 10 different sites. 3 of them were on Riverside Drive. So, hey, I have no idea what I want to name my office. Let's just go with Riverside, because if I don't do that, then I can't get all the tax things set up and we wouldn't be ready to open. So lo and behold, we named our office Riverside Family Chiropractic. I completely forgot, because I had lived in Florida for the past 5 years, even though I'm from Ohio, that Riverside was also a hospital. And when we secured our location on Sawmill, I was like, well, why is our name Riverside? Anyways, we were so busy, we never had time to rethink the name or change the name. But after 8 years of doing this, in all honesty, I'm tired of writing Riverside Family Chiropractic everywhere. It's like 30 letters long. The name of our podcast and our radio show is Be Aligned Health. And so most people know us by that name, Be Aligned Health, which is on these cool hats that we'll have inside of our office. So officially this month we'll be changing our name over to Be Aligned Health. You can still find us through Riverside Chiropractic. You can still make checks to Riverside Family Chiropractic, but our forward-facing name is going to be Be Aligned Health.
Yeah, so a key component to that is anything changing behind the scenes? Absolutely not.
No,
everything
nothing.
100% is staying the same.
Staying the same.
The same brain trust that's running this office is going to be
all the same.
Yeah,
all the same. I think Be Aligned Health just embodies a little bit more of what we do. Obviously, we give great chiropractic care, great adjustments. We think that's the backbone to health. No pun intended. But all the other things that we've done have really taken a hold on our patients' lives. And I really wanted a name that more reflects that. You know, we're helping patients through nutrition, through health coaching, through functional medicine, through detoxification protocols, in addition to corrective chiropractic care and the mindset component that we do. So there's so much education to it, and we have so many factors going online. I think just Be Aligned Health is a great fitting name overall. But yeah, same care, same office, same people, all that stuff. Yeah. Nothing else is changing.
We just want to do things better. We wanted the shorter name. We're going to have more social presence, so all of that makes sense.
I went to make these cool trucker hats, and I put Riverside Family Chiropractic on it.
There's no room for anything.
And I was like, there's no room for it on there. So that's really what kind of inspired the change to there. Okay. So we got a lot of good things to talk about today. The first thing is we've got some great upcoming workshops in the office that we want to go through. Obviously, also, we're right around back to school time, which is, I think, really such an important time to get back on track with your health. I think there's 3 times of year that we really get our health shaken up. And that's the end of the school year and start of summer, the start of going back to school, and then right around the holidays. And so this is one of those big ones where if we're not careful, if we're not aware of it, all of a sudden we're 1, 2, 3 months into this thing.
It's Thanksgiving.
We lifted our feet up and we drifted downstream, and we're not where we want to be with our health overall. So we're going to talk about gut health today. So Dr. Matt, I'll say, Hippocrates was one of the major founders of modern medicine. He made a couple bold statements 2,500 years ago that probably ruffled some feathers.
Yeah, it's documented. He said some really cool things.
Yeah.
And one of them was that you got to look to the spine and the gut.
Yes.
Disease.
Yeah. So he said, look well to the spine for the cause of all disease. And then he said, on top of that, if you have disease, look to the gut as well. So a question for you, was he right?
He was absolutely right.
Okay.
Your gut is a big deal. And as time goes by, more studies are coming out where it's actually showing that.
Yeah, so I think it's crazy to think, but your gut is not actually inside of your body. It's weird to say, but your gut really is your outside. It's a tube connecting, from your mouth, obviously, to the other side, but your gut is really something that connects the outside to the inside. And so inside of your gut, you have to realize it covers 4,000 square feet of area. It is the size of a massive house. In there, we have more than 5 pounds of bacteria inside of our gut. So we don't digest just because. We have literally bacteria, more cells of bacteria in our body than we have human cells in our body because they're much smaller. These wild things that we never think about. You've got 70% of our immune system that experts believe is housed inside of our gut. And then when you talk about cognitive and mental health, most neurotransmitters that control our mood, our appetite, our affect, those are actually made in our gut. You've got 50% of dopamine is made in the gut, more than 90% of serotonin. Again, the hormones that control how you feel, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, those are made in your gut. We call this gut our little brain, and it's because, your gut contains 500 million neurons. The only place where there are more neurons than that are in your brain. So again, it's safe to say that your gut is responsible for so many things. And all these new research articles are coming out saying, wow, Hippocrates was right. They're not saying it in those words, but they're saying, wow, we're seeing gut issues in every facet of modern human disease.
So the summary of all of that, all of those facts is like, it's not by accident.
Yeah.
Like we were created that way.
Yeah.
And again, getting back to some of the research, a recent PubMed research in 2020 of May out of Japan, it had a smaller sample of participants. It was 107 participants. They went through a lot of measurements, and one of them was just like measuring dementia, the gut microbiome, like what's going on in the person with dementia, what's going on in their gut versus someone without the dementia diagnosis and what's going on in their gut. And ultimately, they determined that fecal ammonia and lactic acid are related to dementia, independently of the other risk factors.
Wow.
So it's just a summary statement that says, are they related? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to wait around 5 more years, 10 more years to these large groups to catch up. It just makes sense to me that it's there, especially when you get into the facts of how just our body is organized.
Yeah,
to work.
absolutely. I mean, you had, so in 2018, Ohio State came out with a research study that showed that if you had damage in your spine where the nerves are linked to your gut, so in the lower back, the nerves that feed out through there, obviously they go into your back, they go down your leg, you can get back pain or sciatica. But if you have damage in your lumbar spine and it affects the nerves that go to your gut, that it affects your overall healing time. So these aren't little concepts. And really, when you think about it, and I think about what Hippocrates said, all disease begins with the gut. I think about what's happened in the last 100 years because, our genetics haven't changed that much. Truly haven't. So what's changed in our environments that's affecting our gut? And when you start to look at those factors, you start to say, oh my. In all honesty, I think we're all lucky that we're not sicker.
Yeah, it boils down to our choices.
Absolutely. And you look at the diet of the world right now. So, our gut has a requirement for certain amounts of food, combination of nutrients. And when you look at what we're eating, we're not giving our body the fuel that it needs, the right nutrients it needs to actually create a healthy gut biome. In fact, so most people should have, again, 5 pounds of bacteria inside of your gut. That bacteria has to eat, right? So from malnutrition, from excessive sugar consumption, from lack of nutrients, 69% of kids in today's world eat the nutritional equivalent of Lunchables. 69% of our kids' diet is made from ultra-processed food. And so we're not giving our gut what it needs. And for most people, what's happening, actually, it's scary, but our gut's dying. So the average person has 1 pound of flora inside of their gut. They need 5 pounds. The average person has lost 80% of the beneficial flora inside of the gut. Again, that's responsible for breaking down food, assimilating it into our body, and actually
absorbing it.
Yeah, that's what creates the cells in our body. So you think, wow, how is all disease tied to the gut? Well, if I can't break down food, if I can't absorb food properly, how on earth am I going to actually be able to be healthy? It's impossible.
Yeah, one thought to latch onto is it's a contest inside of your gut between the bad bacteria and the good.
Mm-hmm.
We can 100% affect that ratio
Yeah.
of the choices we make.
So we've done, obviously we do a lot of health coaching in our office, a lot of nutrition as well. Had a patient, Kathy. So this is like a year ago that she started on this health journey with us. And so, when she came in, she didn't have the problems that you would normally associate with gut. So it wasn't like she had an upset stomach, irritable bowel syndrome, constipation, diarrhea, things like that. She didn't have those symptoms. And that's what I think is important to understand, is that you can have an unhealthy gut and not necessarily feel it in your gut with common gastrointestinal GI symptoms. So what did she add? She's riddled with brain fog. She would forget her kids' names. Where to put my keys? I lost my purse. I lost this. Her life, she said, my brain just felt hazy at all times. She's chronically fatigued. So she sleeps 8 hours a night, wakes up feeling tired, is tired throughout the day, tired at the end of the night, can't get her energy back. Weight loss resistance.
Yeah, this sounds miserable.
Yeah, abundance of cortisol in her body. She's getting the pad that's here. We started doing corrective care with her spine, and she's like, gosh, I thought that pad would go away. No, that pad right there, that's caused by cortisol. So her body is stressed out. So she's, tried diet. She's tried, working with another health coach. She's tried working with another nutritionist. Never really had functional testing done. So we walked through functional testing with her. We did our metabolomics test. We did a couple hormone panels as well. Overwhelmingly clear when the results came back, her gut was the number one issue. And in all honesty, whenever we see gut as a problem, it is the absolute top priority to fix. Because again, if we can't fix your gut, what does it matter that we give you a B vitamin or a magnesium? If you can't absorb and assimilate nutrients and actually create those into living, thinking clay that makes your body, what does it matter? So we started working on her gut. Everything changed when we got her gut healthy. In all honesty, getting your gut healthy is more than just taking a probiotic. She had a lot of what is called dysbiosis. So she had, like you said before, it's a fight inside of your gut. She had the bad bacteria absolutely winning the fight. So she had all this overgrowth of bad bacterium. you can't just add in a probiotic that you buy over the counter and expect it to wipe out all of your problems. There's a 3-step process that it comes to when it comes to fixing the gut. We had to kill the bad bacteria that was overgrown inside of her gut. We then had to work on fixing her leaky gut. So we use special things like colostrum, like nutritional yeast to fix her gut. And then once we get your gut actually repaired, now it's time for the probiotic. But everyone jumps for the probiotic, which again isn't a bad thing, but usually there's at least 2 to 3 steps before adding in a healthy probiotic. So her mood got better. She started losing weight. Obviously, her cognitive function had improved immensely. Now she's someone who's really healthy from the inside out because we not only fixed her spine, got her aligned well, but by taking care of her gut, we really helped her achieve that next level of health that otherwise I don't know if she ever would have gotten, because you can't shortcut a gut fix.
Yeah, I mean, our primary goal is we want to help as many people as we can. We want them to live their best life, right? Mm-hmm. So when we learn these things with Kathy, it's like we want to sound the alarm. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we have programs, we have protocols for you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's why this gut workshop coming up is going to be exciting. Not only that, it should not be missed. Like, we have limited seating.
We do.
With some of the recent remodeling that we're doing in the office to make things more efficient and a better process and just an overall better experience for our patients.
Yep.
So we are limited with seating.
Yeah, I think at the time of this recording, we have like 10 seats maybe left.
Not only attending that, but we have resources for them. We have resources for their friends, family members, coworkers. Mm-hmm. Just reach out to us and we can help you, because there's going to be a lot of information that you can put into action, again, through the rest of the summer.
Yep.
And to catapult into a more healthier.
Yeah. And really, when it comes down to it, with all the things we have, all the programs we have, there's no excuse. We're doing things online now, over the phone, in office. So really, there's no excuse of saying I'm too busy for it, because if you don't make time for your health, you're not going to have the health to have the time that you deserve. You know what I mean? So you got to prioritize that. Okay. So next is back to school. Right around this time, I think it's always important to talk about something that oftentimes gets missed, and that's really the health of our kids. I recently, before we did this, I did a small interview with my 6-year-old who talks all the time now about being healthy. It's taken 6 years of me working on him. But something we oftentimes miss is the importance of spinal health in kids. And so August is National Scoliosis Awareness Month. Incidence of scoliosis is incredible when it comes to kids. And I think that our posture as kids has gotten worse over the years. Why do you think that is?
It's the computers and the handheld devices.
Yeah.
Not to mention the chairs that we sit in the classroom.
Yeah. So we look at movement studies on the spine, and they say that our body should be moving about 12 hours a day, and we should be sitting 4 or less. And I think a lot of times during the summer, if we're active and we're keeping our kids off technology, we're keeping them moving, we're forcing them to go outside, which not only develops good body health, it's also vital. I was speaking with an optometrist yesterday. They said that if your kids don't play outside more than 2 hours a day, their risk of having ocular problems goes up massively because they become myopic. They're focusing on something that's 6 inches away all day long. So it's important for so many factors. But the reality is that the technology, the devices, all of those things of looking down like this, they're killing our spine. Our spine should have these healthy curves from the side. It should be straight from the front. And when you curl your body into a ball all day long and you don't move it well, you start causing tons of spinal issues. When I was growing up, and this is 30 years ago, the incidence of child scoliosis is an abnormal shift or twist of the spine from the front. It was about 2%. Now it's between 4 to 6%. So it's gone up more than 200% in the last 20, 25 years. And the bigger problem on top of it is that because of liability issues, schools are now no longer checking for scoliosis. And so the important thing to understand is, we don't have these back problems when we're 20, 30, 40, 50. The reality is that spinal traumas occur starting at birth. So the number one trauma that we all have usually is a birthing trauma, which researchers estimate is 80 to 90% of kids are born with some type of mild to moderate birthing trauma, and a few of those can be severe. So from birth, we may have a misalignment in our neck that causes us to not turn our head properly, that can cause a flat spot on the back of our head, that can cause us to sleep in an abnormal position. Then we learn how to crawl, and we fall 20, 30 times through there. And then we learn how to ride a bike, and then we fall 20 or 30 times through there.
With the birthing process, we're starting from the negative. We're starting on the wrong track. And then for most, those things aren't ever checked. And then someone's 50 and comes into our office, and they have a reverse cervical curve, chronic headaches.
Yeah.
Oh, they say, I wish I would have known about this sooner. It's like the most common phrase I get.
I know. And it's like, so the only way to do it, though, is to be preventative, is to work on actually checking.
Yeah, we pass the baton to them and have them talk to who they know, because they have their kids. They can make their children's life way better by getting them in and getting them checked, because they didn't have that, or they just didn't know about it. That's why, like I said, we want to sound the alarm that this is potentially a straightforward answer to a whole heck of a lot of problems that people face, and that's the corrective care chiropractic. Yes, the other essentials: nutrition, mindset, exercise, and limiting your toxins as much as you can. Those are all important.
Yep.
But the two core ones are corrective care chiropractic and nutrition.
The only way to know is to check. You can't be blissfully naive. It drives me crazy when that person comes in who's 30, 40, 50 saying, I wish I would have heard this earlier. And I say, great. Do you know what the solution is? And they say, what? And I say, it's a generational solution.
Yeah.
The way you solve it is you get your kid's spine checked when they're young and start taking care of it. And most of the time that happens, but some of the time the excuses come out. Oh, we don't have time. We have sports. We have all of those things. We were taking care of a family who we didn't see for about 10 months. They said, we were busy with sports, all these other things. And then their kids started developing some issues, attention issues, things like that. They came back to our office and said, wow, we realized we were not making this a priority. We see our kids' posture shifting. They're stressed out in school. And we realized, well, maybe the kids don't have to be in 17,000 activities. Maybe we should do one or two things that promote their health. Because again, at the end of the day, that long-term health is what I think we all want. We just have to put in the action steps to doing that. So during August, we are going to have a scoliosis week in our office, which is a time when we're doing complimentary consultations for kids. So it's scoliosis checks, posture checks. If they have problems in the office, we can evaluate them more in depth. We can take x-rays to determine what the issue is. But it's really a time that we want to spread awareness that if you have a spine at any age, you should be getting it checked if there are problems, having it corrected, or at the minimum, maintained with regular adjustments for optimal health, just like adults do.
I wish I had that as a kid. I didn't know about chiropractic till I was 25. So I feel like that was really late in life. And so I want to help people to learn about it much sooner.
A couple stories on that. I know you have a good one that you wanted to talk about with the kid who just came in.
Yeah, so his father has been under wellness care consistently, and his boy's 15, and he's very involved in playing baseball. Yeah. His father is amazing. He takes him to lessons and goes to every one of his baseball games, tracks his stats.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but Dr. Matt played college baseball, so if you're ever in and you want some batting advice, he can also give that out as well.
I can give you advice. Every player has some advice. With the parent, he wanted to bring his son back into the office because he's 15 now.
And we've been seeing him since he was,
so
even before he started, like since he was 8.
Yeah, so rewind the clock. 6 years ago, we took x-rays on him. Okay, so we have that data point. Now we have these ones we just took last week. So literally to the month, August. So we have August and we have August of 2016. In August 2016, he had a nearly perfect textbook normal cervical curve. It was 45.3 degrees.
So that really nice, beautiful arc through there.
Beautiful arc. 1 millimeter of forward head carriage. So that was nearly perfect. Nearly perfect. A year after that, we took x-rays on him and he was losing some of his curve. He was at 33 degrees.
Yeah, so it's a 25% loss in curve over a year.
In that year, so we saw the trend. Okay, parent, this is trending in the wrong direction. It is difficult, to be candid, like for a 7-year-old boy to do his home exercises, but the parent can help that. The parent can do that with them. It's a good bonding experience. You get two benefits in one because you're doing it together.
Right.
Not to mention just the camaraderie and the morale that you build
and
the relationship built.
And I think there's so much to be gained too as an adult from spending the time to teach my children about health. That's what my wife and I, we spend a lot of time being intentional on. At first, nothing stuck. Like when our kids were 2, 3, 4, Nothing stuck. It was knockdown, drag out fights in the grocery store, at home. And now, because we take our kids to the grocery store and we give them little carts to push around, and we Socratically ask them, hey, you want that? Great. Is it healthy? What do you think?
No health.
Not healthy. So what should we get instead?
Healthy stuff.
Healthy stuff. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, what do you think?
And they pause and they're like, no, it's not healthy. And I'm like, okay, so what should we do? And they're like, put it back. But you know what I mean? So like him at 7, it may seem like a chore, but I think the most valuable thing you could do is teach your children to spend time and invest in their health, because they're not going to get that anywhere else in the world. So anyways, keep going.
So at 9 years old, we knew he was trending in the wrong direction. It was a small amount, but still, that's why we monitor and take updated x-rays to make sure we know where a patient's spine is.
Yeah.
There should be normal arcs that are going to absorb stress of life, and we need to know where those are so we can help them the best way.
Right.
So fast forward 6 years, now he's 15. His curve is 5.4 degrees.
So from 45, which is a perfect arc, 5
45.
degrees is almost straight.
Almost straight.
Yeah. So 1.5 inches to 2 inches of tension on your spinal cord is the research of what that does. It actually slows down the miles per hour in which your brain can talk to your body. So it literally causes neurological stress. Whether you feel it or not, it affects reaction time, digestion, immune health, overall body function, and predisposes you to arthritis, even at that age, because it doesn't matter how old you are. When your spine's out of alignment, it's going to break down. You could take a brand new car off the lot, hit the tire on a curb, shift the tires. You could have a brand new car that's wearing down early. Same thing happens with your body.
So when he was 9, he was holding his head over his shoulders.
Yeah, with great.
Near perfect. Now, with our most recent x-rays, we see that he's 36 millimeters forward. So that's nearly 1.5 inches.
Yep. That's like
so the weight of his head is out over his shoulders.
Yep.
And he's relatively pain-free, this boy. He's 15 years old. He's working out. He's strong. He's a young man now.
Yeah.
And when his dad saw that, what do you think he said to me?
Ugh.
He first said that, and then he said, what do we have to do? Because his dad understands the benefit of wellness care.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we're now going to get him back through a shorter corrective care, because I'm confident he can move really well. But
when you're young, you correct faster. It's the good thing.
The home exercises are just simply going to be, we draw up a new exercise program for him, and he just simply has to do them. And then in about 6 weeks, we're going to retake those x-rays and see where he is.
Tell him hi.
Hi.
Do you like to get adjusted?
Yes.
And do you eat healthy food?
Yes.
Yes. Love you, boss. Have a good day.
Have a good day, buddy. We'll see you later.
So I love that story. And I think the other thing is when it comes down to it, I think we have a little bit of a crystal ball when it comes to predicting health. We know that 15-year-old kid who's coming in is right now in the most critical time to get healthy, because the next 8 years are rough. You're going through high school where you're sitting all day, and then it doesn't get better. You go into college. If you keep going, you sit more. And most jobs today, more than 90% of jobs require 5 or more hours a day of sitting at a desk working on a computer. So if he has issues now, in 5 to 10 years from now, if those aren't corrected, they're going to exponentially compound.
I really wish that wasn't the case, but
I know, but
those are the facts.
Yeah, on a daily basis, we see people from 0 to 97. And so we see people through every walk. So right after we see him, 15-year-old him, we see the 27-year-old who comes in, who went through 4 years of undergrad, was an athlete, and now is sat at a desk for 6 years and wonders why their posture is terrible, their spine's hurting all day long, they're having trouble sleeping at night, they're having disc bulges in their lower back. It's a pattern, and it's going to continue to repeat itself. So we have to stay ahead of it with ergonomics, with being intelligent, with being well-educated on how to keep our spine healthy at home, but also by taking the time to get adjusted, correct the problems, and then maintain our spine in good health.
So thanks for reminding me about, I have one for you, tell me about the baby who would not stop crying.
Yeah, so this is an emotional thing for me. This is pretty cool. So I met a family. They came into our office about 6 months ago, and albeit hesitant. And it's funny, whenever someone is skeptical about getting chiropractic care, I never get to know that until they're 2, 3, 4 months into care. But, I think just with the world that we live in, everyone now visits doctors with a healthy dose of skepticism. We see drugs getting pulled off the market every day. We see doctors in the news. And, if I were a patient, I would be really hard pressed to know who to trust when it comes
nothing
to
wrong with being skeptical.
my health. So they came in, she works in surgery. And so she's in the medical field and has been for 10 years. And we take care of a lot of doctors, nurses, everything like that. And, different people have heard different things about chiropractic care. They've had different experiences as well. I think that we give the best care humanly possible, but I don't know what other people's experiences have been. So she comes in for her. She's, 6 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant, chronic migraines, neck pain, tons of tension through there. Her husband has had a herniated disc in his lower back for 5 years, is in misery all day long, can barely drive, pain radiating down his leg, is like on surgery's door. And so we started taking care of them as a family. We worked on adjusting her, got her aligned a lot better. Her migraine frequency reduced, her headache frequency reduced. She's like, I can't believe how good this is. Her husband, again, who is one of the worst patients I've seen, like someone that, I was 50-50 coming in whether I could actually help him because I thought he was so far gone. A disc herniation for 5 years that hasn't healed yet, that's a lot of healing to ask of the body. So anyways, he comes in, we do our shockwave protocols with him. We're regenerating his lower back. We're tractioning it out. We're decompressing it. We're shifting his spine into a better alignment. Within 4 to 6 weeks, his whole life has changed. I mean, I don't mind getting hugs, but he gave me this big old hug and he's like, thank you so much. Like, I can't believe how much this has changed my life. Like, I can do what I want to do now. Like, I've been in pain every day for 5 years. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I've loved helping him too. It's been awesome.
Yeah, super cool. So anyways, they have their baby, and I tell them beforehand, like I tell all parents, hey, whenever your child's born, this is the one time we'll make a house call. We'll come check your baby after birth. We'll check the mom after birth as well, because again, birth is beautiful, but it is a trauma. And so I don't hear from her for a week, and it's normal. Sometimes you give birth, and there's so many things going on. Obviously, bonding is so important. I'm not the most important, but getting in to check a baby to make sure they're healthy, I think, is vital. Anyways, 4 weeks later after birth, she brings him into our office, and she's distraught. I sit down with her and I say, hey, what's going on? And she's like, we don't know. She goes, since he was born, he's been what's called colicky is the term for it. He's been crying excessively. So when a baby's colicky, they're fussy. Really what experts believe it is the baby can't tell us they have a problem. They can't tell us they have pain. They can just exhibit pain in the form of crying. So for her, 80% of the time that this child has been awake, which is most of the time because he's not sleeping well, he's been crying. He's chronically constipated. She doesn't want to give him medication, though the doctors are saying, oh, you have to give him a laxative, which I can't stand taking because there's a cause to the problem, and babies are not deficient in laxatives.
So it wasn't like she waited a whole month of experiencing
No,
this.
she went
did
to
reach out.
She went to different doctors. So she started in the hospital
I didn't know it was 10.
before she left. So she works in a hospital system. So all of her friends are other doctors, other nurses, other specialists. So she went through all of them. And she didn't like the advice she was getting because everything was very pointed towards, hey, give your baby a medication. And in the time she's been in our office, she's like, no, I really want to hold off on that. But she was still extremely skeptical about getting her baby adjusted. She was just like, it worked for me. It worked for my husband. I'm not sure. So she brought him in anyways. This is a Wednesday morning. The baby is screaming and crying the entire time. If there were patients in our office at that time, you were sweating because it was this just blood-curdling scream, which our heart goes out to. If you're a parent, you can only imagine what the mom's going through. She hasn't slept. She's distraught. And she started crying and she said, I have to go back to work in 4 weeks. And someone told me, make sure you enjoy this time. And she's like, if I could be honest, I haven't enjoyed this time yet. It's not been fun for me. I haven't slept. He's obviously uncomfortable. And as a parent, I can only imagine that. So I said, let's work on adjusting him. So adjustments are gentle for a baby. They're basically like I'm checking for the ripeness of a tomato. We're not doing a lift traction adjustment. We're not pulling their legs. Yeah. It's all really for a kid based on mobility and also based on changing their neurology. We know that adjustments upregulate our body's parasympathetic nervous system. That's the opposite of our fight or flight system. So parasympathetic is resting and digesting. Sympathetic is fight or flight. We're going to run, we're going to fight. The other side is how we sleep, how we repair. And so when we adjust the spine, we activate that resting, healing part of the nervous system. So he did not like being adjusted. He was fussy. He was like wriggling. It's hard to get an adjustment on a baby like that. I handed him back to her and I said, hey, listen, just go home. Just turn the lights off. Try to rest as much as you can. We'll see you on Friday morning.
That was Wednesday.
That was Wednesday. We'll see you in 48 hours Friday morning. Comes back in Friday morning. He came in last Wednesday, and you were super colicky. Crying, fussy, wasn't having good bowel movements, right? And how was he after the first adjustment?
The first adjustment he did really, really well.
He pooped a lot, right?
He did poop a lot.
Like 4 times.
Yep.
So cool. And then how's he been doing with crying, with sleeping?
So he came in again last Friday.
Yep.
Saturday was probably one of the best days we've ever had with him.
Okay, super cool.
And then progressively through last night has gotten worse during the week. So last night was pretty bad.
Okay, I gotcha. Baby's not crying. She walks into the adjusting room and she's like, look at this. And I'm like, it looks like he's sleeping. And she's like, he's been sleeping like the whole time since he got adjusted. We drove home. He pooped in the car, and then he pooped 3 more times that evening. She's like, he hasn't pooped 4 times hardly since he's been born. He pooped 4 times. He was so backed up. It was unbelievable. He slept like a baby, and now he's not colicky. He's not crying. My staff got to hold this little, now 5-week-old baby. Yeah. The whole time while mom got adjusted, I checked the baby again, and she's like, Doc, you're amazing. And I'm like, no, I'm not. The reality is her child's body is amazing. Yes. It's unbelievably incredible. Yes, all we're doing is we're removing that interference so that the baby can do what it's supposed to do. If you had a headache for 4 weeks in a row and you couldn't tell anyone or take anything or do anything for it, would you be frustrated?
Yeah, I would cry all the time.
I'd be absolutely frustrated. And that's what's happening through there. You know what I mean? So it's all about finding the cause. And that's why it's so important at any age to keep a healthy spine. I wasn't there for her birth, but what I can tell you is that most births are traumatic. The baby's head gets compressed on the top of the mother's cervix right before they're born, and that compression oftentimes pushes our head laterally from one side to another. And if it gets pushed through there for too long, it will create a slight misalignment in their upper neck. It's not a massive misalignment, but small misalignments can compound to having large effects, especially when they affect your body's nervous system. And so it was really cool. I've checked him a few more times. Every time he responds really well to adjustments, and he's getting more and more normalized now because, again, now his nervous system, which controls all expression of our life, can actually function like it should.
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
Yeah. So that's all we've got for today. Again, if you have kids, now is the time as back to school comes in, just to make sure that as a family unit, you're working on keeping health at the forefront. It's so hard for me as we take care of families to hear about people who don't have successes with their health, who go in the other direction, who fall off track. And just for everyone, know that life never slows down. It never slows down. No one ever says, hey, stop, don't eat the fast food. Make sure you take time for your health. Make sure you take time for adjustments, for mindfulness, for eating well, for detoxing. There's no billboards that remind you to do that. Us as leaders in our families have to be the ones that are stepping on that gas pedal and saying, we're putting our foot in the sand. We're raising healthy families. We're building healthy communities. So it starts with all of us.
We're here for them.
So, yep. Awesome. So anyways, have a great day, you guys. Thank you for joining me for this. It's been a lot of fun. Until next time.
It's going to be an awesome day.
See you. Yep. Bye, guys.